Hi everyone, this is Active here, just doing a update video to the Tokyo Zeppelin's um, Kanji video, and Give Me a Break Man's 10,000 Kanji oh my response video in my earlier response video to that. If you haven't seen the other video, I'll post it here, the original video from Tokyo Zeppelin. But the basic premise of the video was that native Japanese people actually don't know that many kanji very well. Tokyo Zeppelin pegs the number around 500, maybe 800, he says, for some people, but he thinks that's very rare. And the reason he says this is because he, based on his own personal experiences with his girlfriend, and he thinks that this causes a lot of stress problems in Japan because most people don't really know what's going on around them. Me and Give Me a Break Man countered this with evidence from other sources. And what I've done now is a little experiment with the Japanese native here in Alabama, in the United States. So how I did this is, well, first let me talk about, there's a test in Japan called the Kanji Kinte, I believe is what it's called. Usually it just goes by Kanken exam for short. And this is a test for Japanese natives, which test them on kanji. It's known as a very hard test because it tests on all sorts of different aspects of the kanji. You have to know them just extremely well inside and out. It tests on the readings. What it does, it'll place the kana, have the kana in a sentence, and you have to write the kanji. So, and yes, the test is a written test. You have to write out the actual kanji. You're not just purely like a multiple choice. You have to write the readings for the kanji. It tests you also on the unusual readings of kanji. So that's one of the big things of the test. It tests your knowledge. You have to decide if a reading is onyomi or kunyomi, right? Yeah, you have to test on that. You have to test on radical names. You have to identify the radical and what the radical is called. You have to know the stroke order. What it'll do, it'll highlight a certain stroke, and you have to tell what number stroke that would be. It covers up certain areas of the kanji, and you have to tell the type of stroke that is supposed to go there. It tests on antonyms and synonyms. What it'll do is it'll provide I'm not really sure because I don't understand it's that hard. It'll cover up or it'll show you one kanji and give you 10 to 12 choices. And you have to pick the opposite kanji that would be based on the idea. Then it'll also it'll give you a reading and then maybe give you 5 to 10 other kanji that are all extremely similar. And it's some odd reading usually, and you have to pick the right one. What else does it test on? It basically tests on everything. And like I said, you have to hand write this out in the exam. So anyway, there's these exams are actually on the Nintendo DS here. They have the full set that broken down per level, just like the Kanken exam is. And so what I did is I had my Japanese friend take this test. And the reason this is significant is that he's been in America for 4 years. He's not just some exchange student that's come here for a semester or two. He's been here for approximately 4 years, taking a full English university. He doesn't he didn't come over here and have a Japanese professors where he does half his classes in Japanese. He's all English all the time. All his major writing assignments are all in English. So he's basically been away from seeing kanji on a daily basis, at least in large scale. I'm sure when his girlfriend writes him a text message, it might be in Japanese. But in general, in large scale, he is not writing kanji at all. And as another note, his girlfriend actually makes fun of him a little bit for always kind of being bad at kanji, comparatively, I guess, to her maybe. So I thought this would be a really good test to see a Japanese native who's not doing Japanese, who's not reading or writing Japanese, and hasn't been doing so for the past 4 years. And so what I did is I tested him on level 3. I meant to do pre-2, but I tested him on the level 3 of the Kanken, which tests 1,600 kanji. And all those different aspects of the kanji, it's really hard. Oh, and I wanted to give an example, too, of how hard the exam is. Most people say that even if you, as a foreigner, have passed JLPT level 1, which tests almost 2,000 kanji, that if you take even a low-level Kanken exam and you've never studied for it ever before, that even if you took what would be like a level 5, it starts from 10 and goes to 1 with some pre-levels in there. 5 only tests on 1,000 kanji, where if you've taken JLPT 1 and passed, you're supposed to know over, or right at 2,000 kanji. Well, even if you take level 5, or maybe even level 6, most people say you're going to fail, that you will usually fail and probably fail pretty badly if you've never really focused on that of the Kanken before, and that you will not even come close to passing what would be the JLPT1 equivalent level of kanji. Okay, so it's a really hard test. So anyway, my friend, I gave him my DS on level 3. He's never practiced the Kanken. He's never taken a Kanken exam in his life. He's never used my DS before. Okay, I gave him no practices at all, no warm-ups, no nothing. Turned on the exam. He had to figure out everything just by the directions and get used to the writing system right off the bat. Okay, and the DS, when you take this exam, a lot of times it doesn't recognize it correctly, and you have to go back and erase. Like, you can write it first, and then it'll show in a little block what it interpreted the kanji as. If you don't pay attention, which I often don't, you'll actually write the kanji correctly, but maybe you wrote it real sloppily, and it won't correct it, and you'll hit the answer button and get it wrong because you didn't check to see if the DS checked it. Okay. So anyway, my friend sat down, he took the exam at level 3, 1,600 kanji, testing all those crazy aspects of it, and he got within just a few percentage points of passing. And actually, if he would have paid more attention, or we would both paid more attention, because I was trying to catch that for him if he wrote something wrong, because he actually clicked the answer button and got several of them wrong when he actually wrote the kanji right. He just didn't let the DS, he didn't, like I was talking about earlier, make sure the DS had caught it correctly. So there you have it. So a Japanese native that has not been doing Japanese for 4 years almost passes, I'm going to say pretty much passes, level 3, 1,600 kanji in a way that's way above the ability that you would ever use in real life, even for a native. I mean, he's sitting there like naming stroke orders, synonyms and antonyms, doing the weird, like kanji that are the weird readings for it, identifying if it's the, which actual reading it's using. It's the onyomi or kunyomi. I mean, all this stuff. Very first try, no studying at all, no Japanese, no major Japanese reading and writing in 4 years. So that right there should be enough evidence to show that Japanese people, natives, know a lot of kanji. Even if they say they don't, because they don't really know unless they've tested themselves. They might, I think I probably only know 500 now, but they don't really know. So it's like asking an English person, how many words do you know? They're not going to have a clue. And by this, I'm pretty confident in saying that most Japanese people actually know far more than 2,000 kanji extremely well, because this test was testing stuff that's far, like I said, far and beyond what you would ever need to know in daily reading and writing of kanji, like understanding kanji around you. I mean, if I would have just tested him on that, on just reading and just writing the kanji, there's no doubt he could have probably passed, the pre-2 level easily, or even or higher than that. Heck, probably I wouldn't be surprised if he knew 2,500 to 3,000 kanji just based on reading them, because I mean the test is really that hard. So I thought that was an interesting little experiment, and should kind of put the idea to rest that Japanese people don't really know that many kanji, because apparently they know a lot. All right, later.